So good morning. Um, wow. I just got back from going over to radiology. They're checking like several different things, just like annual checkup kind of thing. So nothing major, but it is really cold outside. And I had debated about wearing like 5 layers or just pulling out my heavy jacket. But then it's so bulky that it's like, you have to take off your shirt and, maybe change into a whole scrub situation or like those robe things. And so I was like, I don't know. Anyways, everything went well though. Everybody was super nice over there too, which was really delightful. But I ended up having some contrast. And if you've never had contrast, it's a really weird feeling. They have to intravenously give it to you. And when it goes into your system, you can feel it and taste it. It's almost like metally. And sometimes I've had people ask me if my iron shots taste metally, because I guess apparently that can happen too. But for me, I've never had an issue with my iron shots. So I don't know. I've never had it affect me that way. But for some people, they do taste more of an irony, metally taste in their mouth. But with contrast, definitely. And so the other thing is that it goes into your system and you get like a hot flash, like all of a sudden you are like hot. And so I was getting my brain scanned, and that's why I had to have it done. The other thing is you feel like you're going to pee. Like that warm sensation of peeing is what you feel. And for a second, I thought, I wonder if anybody's ever just peed on the examination table, because you feel like you are. And a part of you is like, what's going on? Because you're not peeing. But the other part of you, the sensation and the warmth and all of that's happening, that you think, oh my God, am I peeing? It's crazy. But I don't know. It's weird. I fasted because usually like 90% of the time they're like, oh yeah, you should fast before you get like x-rays done and so forth. And so I did. And this was the first time that I felt a little bit nauseous after. I usually don't have any effect for anything, but it may be that I did fast and that's what happened. Or maybe it's just the result of it. I don't know. But it's pretty wild. Again, I did have my brain scanned. And so I kept thinking about things in my head. Like I was like, do they know what I'm thinking in this brain scan? So basically, you lay on the table, they give you the stuff, and then you like close your eyes and you try to relax. In fact, I just kept my eyes closed because I just wanted to kind of zen and zone out. And so basically your head goes into this x-ray situation, and it feels kind of space agey because the whirling sounds are going on. And so, you're in there, the whirling, and I kept thinking like, can they see what I think? So I tried to think of weird stuff that would be just weird. And all I could come up with was, yesterday I watched a really great movie, in which I don't remember the name of it now. But basically it was a God versus Satan kind of movie. And, the triumphant of the Gabriel angel who came and slaughtered everything, and Michael actually too, like it was a couple of them. But nonetheless, and then I thought, oh my gosh, that's probably really dark. And so I started to try to think of like happier movies or images where, there was God and Jesus and angels. And then I kept going into these other movies that I would float into, looking at their images of the portrayal of God or Jesus and happiness and stuff. And so then I was like, man, if they can really see what I'm thinking, I might end up at the nut house because my imagination just runs wild. And when I have examinations like that, I just zone out and chill. And what's interesting, though, is I usually, for whatever reason, have it in the summer. And so to me, I'm laying down. It's the cool of the AC. It's to me, it's relaxing. Like, why not just take a nap? Today, because it's cold outside, the inside felt warm and you did feel like you wanted to take a nap. And I wanted to kind of like keep myself from sleeping because the process is a little bit lengthy for me, but it wasn't terrible. But there's another part of me was like, don't go to sleep, because when I sleep, I just dream so deeply about so many things. I can get up from sleeping, go make some coffee, or doing a dialysis exchange. And if I'm really enjoying that dream that I was having, which I usually always remember, I just go back to bed. And if I fall asleep, I'll dream it again. Like, I'll go back into that dream. And so that, and I feel like I have the ADHD brain, because it's like my brain is just constantly moving and thinking about so many things. Like, I have things next week. I have things today. I have things I need to do. I have to wait to get Charlie. I have to go, take Smokey out. What am I going to have to eat today? What should I make for dinner? Like all these things, all while I'm laying there on the table. And so I'm like, how funny would it be if you could really see inside, or the brain activity of a person, just to see like how many thoughts are coming in during that session of time, So I'm sure they have machines that do register that. I'm pretty certain that I wasn't a part of that today. But I just think it's fascinating to think about the fear. So I think it's just fascinating that we're in a world where we can like scan the mind and see what's going on inside the good old coconut. So anyways, that was my adventure this morning. I had to be there at 7:30, so I jerked awake at 6:45. I don't really remember Donnie leaving either. So I must have been pretty tired. Yesterday was a really busy day, and then last night was a really great music jam. So I think my energy for the jams can affect the next day, because a lot of times I'm just like wiped out from all the doings of the day before. So I guess that's why I kind of slept in, and then I jerked awake and was like, oh my God, I gotta go. And then I was like, should I dextrose and do my dialysis, or should I not? And that was the other question, is I was like, I could not remember whether they told me I needed to not do it. So I chose to not do it, because I thought, worst case scenario, it's better that I just go in as normally as possible and let them know that I'm on dialysis, than to get there and they're like, well, you have your dextrose solution in you, so we can't do it. And by the way, I did have a mammogram done, and I'm glad that I didn't have the dextrose in, because it does puff you out a little bit. And the angles that I had to stand there to get, squished, well, I was glad that I didn't have the dextrose in, because it would have been really uncomfortable. Or just in the way, so I'm glad I didn't do that. But as soon as I got home right now, I took Smokey out to go potty, and then I was like, I better do an exchange. And they told me too not to skip exchanges today, because the contrast needs to get out, because it, can't just stay in the system, which I thought was funny, because I'm like, at first I was like, wait, what? Because they're like, you have to do an exchange within 24 hours. And I was like, what? Because what's interesting is that they didn't really know what PD dialysis was. So I kept telling them like, oh, well, I have a port, because they don't want to do x-rays where you have metal on, right? Especially like a zipper or anything like a belt buckle, I guess. I do have a tattoo piercing, and that never seems to be an issue. But, I mean, if I had to take it out, I would. But, you know, they check you and everything. And then one of the attendees said, well, can you take your port out? And I'm like, no, my port is in me, you know, like I can't take it out. You know, I said, I do have like there's a little metal clasp thingy kind of thing. I don't know, that holds everything together. And, I told her that, and I was going to show her, and she's like, oh, no. Okay. I see what you're saying. No, we don't have to worry about that. So that was good. But, I think, I had to clarify that it wasn't a fistula either, which is hemodialysis. And so it was just interesting. And then when I went in to lay down and everything, you know, I reminded everybody I'm on dialysis, you know, all this. And then she said, you know, make sure that you do an exchange. And I said, well, I do 3 exchanges a day. I do it and she's like, when's the next time you go in? And I was like, no, I do PD dialysis. And she's like, oh, I don't know what that is. So I was just a little surprised. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess there's so much to the body that, you know, in the medical field, you're responsible for just this part, so you don't really think about the other parts. But I would think that kidney disease would be up there with like cancers, brain issues, you know, lungs. I don't know. So anyways, I explained to her, you know, the difference between the two, and as briefly as I could. And then she was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You know, you can do it at home. And I was like, yeah, you know. So anyhow, that was my adventure this morning. I'm going to get done with my exchange here, and then I'm going to go grab Charlie, and I think we're going to run some errands, and then we'll definitely need to tuck in, because I think it looks like it's getting cloudy outside, which means a little bit more chilly. But I do notice when I have Charlie, I don't know if it's my mothering instinct that kicks in, and I kind of get hot, because, you know, then I'm like worried about him, and I'm, you know, a little more active, I guess. Or I'm worried about, you know, like where he's at. Is he safe? You know, lifting him in and out of the car seats and stuff like that. So, somebody's on the roof. All right. Well, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Drink your water. Okay. Bye-bye.